It started as a whisper on a windy day, down where the mud meets boots and clay. Come and look, but don't get proud, there's something big and it ain't allowed. Half in the shade like a wheel of stone, big as a table, heavy as a groan. A spiral so wide it bent the light. Someone said, that's not small, that's a fight. We poked it once, it didn't move. Poked it twice, same old groove. Someone laughed and said, fair play, that thing's been sitting since forever days. So we counted hands, we counted feet, counted excuses not to lift our seat. Counted again just to be sure, then counted 11 and still weren't sure. It took 11 for an ammonite and one bad idea at the start of the night. Mud on our backs and pride on the line, trying to walk off 1,000,000 tons of time. It rolled, it slipped, it laughed at us. Stone don't care if you're late for the bus. But we got it moving inch by inch, 11 souls in one big wince.
So at Quantoxhead, this is Blue Lias, and some of the rocks can be pretty hard. It's best to take a range of tools. It's actually quite a long walk back to the car park, so I find that take whatever you need, even if you have to leave them somewhere safe, and then you know the tools are somewhere you can find them. Now the most essential things at this location is going to be a lump hammer of some sort, something that you can work with, a chisel with a safety guard, some gloves. Most essential is your eyewear for your protection. I also like to bring a gad bar for any sort of soft shale to rip through that. And also a geological hammer, which comes in very handy for splitting smaller rocks. Now, I personally like to bring a very large lump hammer, this big beast. The reason I bring this one here is because in 1994, I came here and there was a huge boulder. It was about this high. And on top of this boulder was the most spectacular nautilus I'd ever seen. It was immaculate. It was a beautiful sort of reddish colour. I had no tools. We had no tools at the van. We had to leave it there. I don't know what happened to it. Someone must have had it. It was such a beautiful specimen. So from this day on end, whenever I come to Quantoxhead, I always bring something heavy, just in case, but I will leave it here, and then I can always come back to it.
Over 60 metres of Lower Lias clays and limestone is present at West Quantoxhead, which dip eastwards. The alternating bands of limestone and clay is clearly visible within the cliff face. The Blue Lias here is similar to that at Churchcliffe, Lyme Regis in Dorset. In Somerset, however, they are known as the Quantox beds. Several major faults along this part of the coastline can clearly be seen in the cliff section, and especially visible along the foreshore, where the hard limestone blocks form stepped circles. The cliffs here are very unstable, undercut, and rocks frequently fall. Please keep away from the base of the cliff at all times.
One thing you'll notice here when you come collecting is actually a lot of these partial ammonites, and they're literally everywhere in the rock. For example, we have another one over here. If that was complete, you can imagine the size of it. But they're really quite amazing to see, actually. Wherever you go, they are everywhere.
Another Blue Lias classic fossil this. It's actually a bivalve. They can get quite large, these. They're very common places like Monmouth Beach and Lyme Regis as well. Anywhere really with Blue Lias. And the Plagiostoma, they're quite a classic one. Normally they're in bedrock and you can't obviously remove them because it's in situ. You can occasionally find them loose. Now it's not complete, as you can see it's lost a bit of the shell here. It's also quite sea-worn. But still, you know, at the end of the day, it is a fossil.
As well as ammonites, there are over 20 different species of bivalve here, a number of brachipod species, and the occasional echinoid spine. Crinoids, fish remains, and reptile bones are frequently found.
If you look down here with me on the foreshore here, it's actually a partially exposed ammonite, and this is in bedrock. And if you look closely here, you can see all the nice suture patterns of the ammonite. Now obviously we're not able to get this out because of the rules of hitting into the bedrock. That's actually quite nice to see that. I've just walked further along the foreshore here, and down here also in bedrock is some really nice little crinoid stars. There's some stems there as well, and they're quite pretty to look at. There's another one.
I find this actually quite fascinating. Look at that. So much detail on this. Now, this isn't actually a fossil by itself. It's actually what's called a trace fossil. And you can see all the ripple marks. This would have been on the bed, on the sea floor, and you can see all the ripple marks.
And these are some more trace fossils, the burrows of bivalves where they once moved through the mud on the ocean floor. We did find the keel of an Archaeopteryx protruding from a large loose rock. But after we started trying to extract it, we noticed that it had a natural split right through the middle of the block at the back. These are common from Quantoxhead, but extracting a whole one is difficult. This is what they look like when fully prepped.
I've just found something quite exciting actually, and it was on the way back. It's always on the way back. And I thought, right, I'm going to have one last look in the shale along the broken piece on the foreshore. And down here we have a bone. See there, it's a piece of bone exposed in the shale.
This piece of bone belongs to an ichthyosaur and is part of the coracoid bone. This bone is a crucial part of the shoulder structure that connects the limb bones to the shoulder blade, providing a strong anchor point for the powerful paddle-like foreflippers used for steering and maneuvering in the water. Unfortunately, the bone wasn't complete, but it was still a lovely find.
We always enjoy visiting the Somerset coastline, and we hope you found this video of Quantoxhead helpful. If you'd like to see more of our videos, please hit like and subscribe and support our channel.